Your feelings are real, but that doesn't mean they're telling you the truth. Welcome back to Unzipped Lips again. I am your hostess, Mary Freshwater. We're back in a space where we unzip your pain and we unpack it, even when the truth hurts and our voice is shaking while doing it. And today's truth is no different. We are tackling a big subject that Jess and I touched on before, and that is your perspective. So, perspective versus reality. And let's talk about how trauma can write a script that we keep performing. But let's start with the simple definitions of perception and reality. So, when you look at the definition of perception, perception is the way you see, interpret, or understand something through your senses, experiences, and beliefs. So, this is very personalized. Perception is a personal thing. It does not mean everyone is going to have the same story. That is very perception. But when we look at reality, reality is the state of things as they actually exist, not as they may appear, be imagined, or be hoped for. It is what's true, factual, and happening, whether or not we believe in it, want it, or like it. So let's really break into those a little bit deeper. Because, like I said, perception is very personal when reality is very factual. It has no personal opinion, it has no emotion attached to it. This is just what exists. So, when we talk about perception, perception is very much a lens which our life has created for us. So, if you think about it like a pair of glasses, your life created that pair of glasses where you view what's happening around you. In that, when you are someone where trauma, abuse, or a very negative in existence has created just this perception of a negative down world, it's coming after you, everything is against you. That is a perception that trauma has built for you. It is a lie because we do not live in a world that is singularly attacking you. Now, there may be people in your life that are doing that. Please know the difference. But reality is what it is. It is factual. It is the incident that happened. So when you always talk about there is two sides to every story, and then the truth is somewhere in the middle. That's because everyone walks away with their perception of what happened. A lot of people have a very, very hard time separating their emotions from an event. So when something happens, they have their own personal feelings about it, their own perspective, and they put their own twist on it because that's how they see it, because the lens has skewed it. Now, and when we look at being healed, and this is something we've talked about a couple times now in my podcast, is the healing process in going from reacting to responding. And the more you heal and you heal those wounds and you take your lens, and you get it unskewed, and you're able to take the lens off and just see things for what they are in the facts, in the truth, the easier it is for you to understand and just respond because you're able to separate and see how you feel. It can be different from what happened. So that is very when you don't have to have a, a perception of something because it's you and just your feelings, and you don't feel like you need to justify them to the world, but you can see things for what they are. And then you can gauge your feelings according to what really happened. And that is when you come from a place of responding. Now, there's going to be different instances where you can do this very easily and others where you cannot. But it gets to a point where you get to sit in a place of seeing everything for what it really is. And there's no emotional attachment to it. So when I say that is because, like, say you're a detective, you're looking for just the facts, no one's opinion, just the facts. So then you can build the right case instead of someone, well, I feel their motive was this. Well, okay, that's your perspective. We need the reality of what had happened and dig in. So now, when we really look at how perspective and reality are completely two different things, because reality is the truth, it is what happened, it's what exists, and perspective is your emotional attachment and your feelings of how it happened. And just because you feel one way does not mean it is true. And when I say this, it's because most of the time when you wear a lens or you have a perspective on something, it can be built by trauma or negative experiences, and it's not a bad thing. It's just, it's what it is. So when we talk about how trauma lies to you through your perspective or your perception, what we're talking about is trauma comes to harm your body. It gets into your heart and it warps how you see things. You didn't So say someone didn't text you back in what you feel is a timely fashion. You feel abandoned again just because they're in a meeting and they didn't text you while they were in it. Like, that's your perspective. You feel like they didn't do something in this timely fashion in what you feel is correct, and now you're skewed. That is trauma lying to you. Or when someone says, we need to talk, most of us not have the knee jerk reaction to be brace ourselves for rejection, getting lectured, a negative thing is coming at us, and we already have our walls and our defenses so high before we even go and talk with someone. Even though someone could want to just have a moment with you to say, hey, I recognize the amazing things you've been doing. So why have we built these walls so high? How about the silence? Let's talk about the silence. When someone doesn't talk to us when we're driving in a car, or they have to fill the room with talking. Because at the end of the day, your perception is if someone isn't talking to you, they're judging you. Where did that perception come from? Where did that attachment come from? Because that one is pretty brutal. And I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only one who ever struggled with that. But the fun one is boundaries. When we have someone tell us that they don't like a certain thing, we feel rejected, unwanted, even though it's healthy to have boundaries. They're being honest with you. They're telling you what their needs are and how your relationship can further go better, or go further better, because they're being honest with you. But our nervous system is screaming at us that we're being rejected. That, oh my gosh, here it goes, the start of the collapse. That's your nervous system screaming at you. Your nervous system is the thing that subconsciously has your perspective going crazy. Healing can give this all back to you. Feelings when you heal your feelings, that's when you can start seeing the facts. Because when your feelings are all over the board and you haven't dealt with them and you haven't dealt with your nervous system and reined everything back in, your perception is all over the board. And one of the biggest things is trauma lies to you through perspective that then makes you feel a certain way. So let's talk about those feelings that you have that trauma has you believing in. That is a complete lie. So feeling like you're a burden, that means that no one wants you. No one wants to talk to you. You feel like you're just dragging everyone down. And that is so not true. You're not a burden. And honestly, when you're feeling like that and you're feeling worthless and hopeless and you're just going down this negative hole, reach out to someone because you're not a burden. That's the last thing that you are. I would rather have a 2 a.m. phone call or someone tapping on my door at 2 a.m. wanting a hug because they're in a low place than getting a phone call at 11 a.m. that I can never change. Or unfortunately, finding someone in a basement hung in the morning. I never want to experience that again. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people never want to experience that in their life. We'll be very honest. Because the feelings of feeling unloved are nothing but a lie. Feeling as a burden is nothing but a lie. That perspective is a lie from trauma. Or feeling that you're unsafe when you're in a safe place now. That one is harder because that perspective can be burned so deep into you because you have lived through some really messed up stuff. Not gonna lie, that one takes a moment to reverse and to be able to start seeing the reality around you. It takes a moment, but you can do it. Your perspective is shaped by the trauma that was around you. It is not the reality you live in. Perspective is very loud, it screams in your head, and it is little demons that want to drag you to hell. But reality is quiet and it can save you if you start to calm the chaos and listen. And you have to listen to how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way and start to challenge it. Because how you feel, it is true and it is valid to you. Your feelings are valid, but challenge them to make sure that they're speaking the truth to you. And how you can start doing that is by untangling the web of stories that your perspective is telling you. So when you really start to ask those questions, you may not even know where to start. The simple one might just be like, what do I feel right now and why? Because it is not easy. When you have a perspective that is lying to you, it is hard to find yourself back to reality. And I'm not going to say it's an easy thing because it is not. So I'm going to say it from the top of my voice, and I don't care who's going to get mad at me, but your perspective is not reality and it can be lying to you. Please question it. That's the only way you're going to figure out whether you're living in reality or if you're living in la la land. Because la la land feels good because you're validated in some messed up feelings, but it does not mean it's true. And I don't care how much you hate me for saying this. Because in reality, that is fully what exists, not how you feel. Your feelings are not always reality or truth. Question it. Question what you feel. How do I feel right now? Why do I feel that way? What story is my feelings telling me? Is it based on past or is this actually happening right now? That is a key question because like it says in the beginning when we talked about what the definition of reality, it is what actually exists and is factual. Factual. Let me say that again. Reality is factual. It is not how you feel. It is factual. So when we talk about perspective in reality, we as a healed person who is on a healing journey, I can see the difference between my perspective and what is reality. I can start seeing that this is the truth. This is what happened. And then I can decide how I want to feel about it. My feelings are not wrapped up that event made me feel a certain way. No, that event happened and I feel a certain way towards that event. There is a difference in how you convert and converse and feel about things because you stop allowing things to create feelings in you because of how you dictated it, and you see it for what it is, and then you feel a way because of it, like towards it, not because of it, but towards it. And it is all, what are the facts? What else could be true? Is this where healing happens? Is when you just really start to see things for what they are, and you stop allowing something to dictate a feeling for you, because that's where perspective comes in. That is what perception is you taking in what happened through a skewed lens, creating valuable feelings, because like I said, your feelings are valid, but they may not be true. They may be lying to you. Let me say that again. Your feelings are valid. They are real to you, but they are potentially lying to you. And you need to see that, especially people who come from trauma, that come from abusive situations. You don't see things clearly anymore. They are very skewed, and it is okay to say that. It is okay to say that you're working on your perspective, because you are needing to reevaluate things. Because 90% of the time, it is your nervous system that's lying to you. Your nervous system is in complete chaos. And it is, I was going after worst case scenario, that the world is out to get you and the world's going to come get you. And it's okay. Your nervous system is dysregulated. Your body is dysregulated. You just need to get back to calm. Pull yourself out of the chaos. Because that autopilot, that perception is doing so much harm. And you are literally, when you have that type of perspective on the world and everything around you, you are stuck in survival mode. Because that is your body in everything that you are, trying to tell you that you're not safe, so you can make sure you can get to a safe place. Again, you can be in a perfectly safe environment. I have been for years. And it took a couple years for my body to recognize that it's okay to be calm. I had to question the unsafe perspective. I had to question what I was feeling from different things. I could be sitting completely alone in a cube at work and start having a panic attack because I felt unsafe. For no reason, but my perspective of something caught me and had me thinking I was unsafe and swirled me into a panic attack. It's okay. But it's recognizing what is happening and start questioning so you can get out of it. And start building a new truth and building yourself back into reality. Because trauma, abuse, negative events, those gave you the lenses you see through. But you get to choose how you move forward and how you remove those lenses so you can live within reality and see the events for what they are. And that is also taking ownership. Because when you start to say, all right, I may not be seeing this clearly. Let me question this. Let me start building in reality and claiming who I am within this. Let me claim my actual emotions. Because it really comes down to another thing where no one has control over you. Only you have control over you. And when you have a negative perspective on things, you're allowing others to dictate how you react. And again, that's a perspective and not sitting in reality. You have to calm your nervous system in order to be able to sit in reality and sit with no skewed lens going on. Your journey You have to find your way through the distortions. You have to find your way through what is causing the static and the skewed lens. You have to find your way through it. It is a journey. And the first thing you can do is start speaking truth. And it sucks because there's a lot of fear and shame in speaking what you feel is true. But the thing is that when you have people that are honest, that are real, and that have the best for you and are in a place of healing, such as a therapist, a coach, a friend that has been through a healing journey themselves, when you start talking about how you think and feel, they can start helping you question your perspective and where those feelings are coming from and why you feel that way, and really help you find down the path of truth, the path of reality over perspective. They will validate your feelings, but help you figure out if those feelings live in truth, or are they lying to you? You know, it's okay to say, yes, I feel this way. But again, the question is, what is true? Was your perspective shaped by survival, like most of us? Or are you living back in reality through healing? And like I said from the start, perspective can change. You're not stuck with it. PTSD, your nervous system being in chaos, these are not a life sentence. You can change where you go from. You can change your perspective. You can start taking the distortions away. You can start calming the chaos and the static. You can come back to full on reality. And when you do, it's a lot less painful. Let me just tell you. Living in reality is a lot less painful. People are not out to get you. Not everybody wants to see you fail. And not everyone's around the corner to come at you and harm you. That is the reality. And it is a great reality to start living in, especially when you lived in so much chaos and so much pain. So let me tell you, it's okay to have feelings. The question is are they telling you that? Your perspective is valid to you. But is it just there to protect you? So let me ask you this. Are you living in reality? Are you living in your perception of this world, in this reality? And what is your perception telling you about this world? Your emotions. I know it feels so familiar and it's really scary to go outside it and look at things in a different way. It's uncomfortable. Quite uncomfortable. But your trauma has taught you a story that needs to stay in the past so you can start to thrive. So, what are you building? Are you coming back to reality? You're not crazy. You're not broken, and you're not lost. You just need to take the lenses off. Because when you do, the world seems to look a little bit brighter. So, again, thank you for unzipping with me today. Check me out at buildyou.us to look into ways to working with me to overcoming PTSD and trauma and other things, because like I said, those are not a life sentence. You can start silencing them. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share with someone who may need to hear that it is okay, that their feelings are there, but they may be lying to them because they are loved and they are not a burden, nor are you. See you on the next episode.